Alright guys, Supreme Kami here, and I'm going to be going over the number 94 Gunpla Fragment right now. So in terms of the expire days, it is going to expire in the next 3 days over here. So if you guys have not done anything with them, please make sure to do at least do something with them. So I do have myself the 40 fragment already. So primarily speaking, in terms of me personally, I will not really waste any of these resources onto any of these over here just because they are old. Even their alteration does not really make them any better in a sense, because like I'm just talking about from my perspective. I just own a lot of these parts already that it pretty much invalidates me to get them anymore. So we do have the Penelope. In terms of this one, we have not gotten an alternative attribute for this one yet. So if you're planning about getting this potentially as for the link attribute, I think that is not a bad option. As for the O, we do already have an alternative attribute already, so you can definitely get any of the falling part within the O, like this version of it, and trying to use it for the link attribute. I think that would be a smart choice if you want to further power up the S attribute DO. But if not, what I'll do with the remaining of the 40 weapon, just go ahead and pick any of these over here. Is either you want, let's say, like 4-star part tickets, or you want 4-star AI ticket. In my personal preference over here, just because we do have build project pilots already, I don't think it's that smart to, let's say, get any of those standard one, unless there's like a specific AI pilot that you really want. For example, you just like it for the voice lines, or you just like it for the character, I guess you can do that. But if not, if you guys are simply using it for stat sticking or portrait or whatever for AI pilot, definitely do go the AR or the build project AI pilot instead. In terms of, let's say, for the remainder of it, I would just go ahead and just use it for the 4-star parts and call it a day, just because in terms of the standard port for the parts, there's just a lot of good selection. So let's talk about the Penelope, and then or let's say the limited parts, and then we'll work our ways down to the standard part and see if there are anything that is kind of like an honorable mention, something you might want to get that you guys do not have. So let's kind of go over to the alteration page. In terms of the Penelope, I just feel like sometime soon we should be getting an alternative attribute, just because we do have the alternative attribute for the Cacique Gundam already. So I'm just expecting it sometime soon. I think the Penelope is not a bad unit to get an alternative attribute. It's a pretty cool looking unit. I don't know in terms of the height factor, probably not as much as, let's say, Unicorn, or even like your new Gundam, high new Gundam. But in terms of Unicorn, we have a plethora of them already, so no one misses that one. So let's kind of take a look at the head part here. So I think the main focus is definitely going to be the portrait. The stat wise on these has significantly be crippled already, so we're not going to spend too much time talking about that. Portrait on this one is actually not too bad if you are someone that is trying to do like a kind of like a shooting, like just an all-round enemy power reduction. This one specifically is going to supply the enemy shooting power reduce. I personally use this one on my tank build, so it's not a bad option, because back then I do have the luxury of having a lot of those 5-star pick tickets, specifically for picking those limited suit. Because I remember last year there was a campaign, if you buy a certain amount of power chips, you get kind of like a bonus reward on top of that. So I was like, why not? Let me just buy all of it and get those tickets. So that's why I had the luxury to just kind of play around with these reduction type build. If not, I generally do not recommend these over here, just because in terms of getting them up and running, it's going to be a hefty price, just because they do start out at 17%, and then in terms of getting them up and ready to 30%, it's going to take a lot of resources, so not really worth it. So let's kind of take a look at the torso. Kind of keep that in mind. In terms of the war tag, it's kind of like a dual typing. I mean, in terms of if you take a look at the overall, let's say the head through a flash movie, for example, it makes sense why they put high mobility. But in terms of game sense over here, not really, because high mobility and Ace Susa are like completely polar opposite tags, so I wouldn't really recommend that. So what about this one? Honestly, this one is not too terrible if you guys don't care about the secondary portrait only to that arm slot? If so, this one is probably not going to be a good recommendation for you all out there. In terms of the arm is going to be the flight unit combo. So this one is actually the custom EXQ for the Penelope. So this one is not the best, not the animation is actually quite good. I was about to say it's bad, but no, this animation is actually not too bad. So definitely something to kind of look into if you do like it. I'll probably upload like a short, like the YouTube short of both the custom EXQ for the Penelope and then the O, probably before this video goes live, so you guys can have a chance to take a look at that after looking at this video. So this one is honestly not too terrible, but the most important part, look at what they're buffing. They're actually buffing your melee attack in terms of shot attack. So this is probably one of the hard fumble that they did early on in the game. I still have no idea why they wanted to split to melee and shot. That was like, I don't know, but simply the EXQ does look cool, but in terms of the effects, it's like, I don't know what happened. Someone in the devs team probably messed up right there. I have no idea. I don't know how to tell you guys that, but alright, so taking a look at the leg, so we have the funnel missile. This one honestly is a very fun EXQ, just because this one acts differently from your regular funnel. This one, once you kind of land on your enemy, it just it explodes. It's like a kind of like an impacted in a sense. So it's actually pretty cool. So if you run this on a 100% cooldown reduction type build, the fun will get funner. So yeah, this one is honestly not too bad in a sense. So likewise, does look pretty funky as well with all those, like, I don't know, it looks weird from the back. I guess you can say the side leg portion, like the panels and stuff, but honestly it looks pretty cool for like a big leg here over here. If they ever make like the big scale for the Penelope, oh my gosh, it is gonna be the same thing as the big scale Cassis. So alright, last but not least, we do have the back portion, and this is going to be one of those split EXQ pierce and then shooting power boosting. Piercing is not a bad option, kind of keep that in mind. They are specifically going to be good for, let's say, some of those really challenging events. But I would definitely say do try to look for those welfare selection or even standard selection, because if you want to specifically use these kind of piercing boosters, for example, they would need to be at a higher threshold or in terms of percentage in order to kind of nullify or kind of bypass your enemy defensive line, per se, or their defensive wall. So I would definitely say we do have some pretty good selection under some of the welfare or even some of the standard selections. So that's that. But yeah, overall, in terms of the Cassis, or not, excuse me, in terms of the Penelope, it's going to be like a mixed bag. Sometimes it's maybe good for you guys, sometimes it may not. It really just depends on your build. And do keep that in mind, this one does need the limited time L badge, or just the L badge itself, to kind of alterate. If you guys do see, if you guys do not own the L badges, this one is not going to be for you. So moving over to the O. In terms of the O, he is actually going to be under the limit or the permanent time alteration tab. So in terms of altering it, you do not need a specific L badges for that, so that's cool. So just going to be taking a quick look at the O. Honestly, the O is very bad. Close shot attack up by 20%, not good at all, not good. Secondary part trait only limited to the leg parts, so we're not doing that again. Just very limited spot, like very restrictive as well. Just because leg EXQ is not really that prominent. There's some good ones out there, but it's just very niche, right? So nope, definitely not it. Alright, what about the torso? Torso wise could be a good option, but do kind of keep that in mind. This one and then the Penelope does have some pretty weird kind of word hack issue going for a melee and shot. So I don't know, I don't know what they're doing back in the day. It just, I guess in terms of the word tag, they want to go for something that is really suitable for the actual unit in the actual anime, but not really in the sense of the actual game lore itself, not really supporting it. So that's that. But like I said again, this one does have the alternate attribute, so this one is going to supply that commander tag right there. If you guys do choose to get this one for supplying that commander tag to your S attribute, so not bad in that respective. Tag wise, it's pretty much going to be the same thing as we take a look at the Penelope Backpack. It's going to be good in some situations where you have some pretty tough defensive line that you want to break through. Piercing is definitely going to be a way to help you. Pair that alongside with EXQ that has some high piercing value. So over on the arm part, it's not bad. This one does offer a double melee percentage over here. So if anyone does need something, I guess this one is a go. But in terms of the actual starting point, they start at 17/20%. So one of the more older, kind of not more older, but just some of the older percentage. So nowadays we typically do see those 25% starting base, and then they go up to 40%. So those are going to be the new meta in a sense. But this one is not too terrible. In terms of the condition, could be a little bit too restrictive in a sense. So in terms of this one over here, we do have the Heaven's Judgment. So this one is going to be the bindable or the Orchestral EXQ. So I am going to do a YouTube short for this one and then the Penelope. So kind of look up for that before look at this video, I guess. So this one does give you the proper boosting. This one does raise your melee attack up by 40 or 39%. So that's good. And also does have some health recovery. So that is good for sure. Alright, so over at the backpack, we just have a beam saber combo, so probably not going to be anything too special. And then last but not least, we have the beam rifle. So this one is outright not really that good, but the secondary part tray could be a good use if you do want a instant cooldown by 50% once, so not bad. But gotta keep that in mind, this is only going to be one-time usage, so not going to be good whatsoever. Alright, so starting out with the Victory Gundam for the standard selection. Honestly, in terms of the stat, we are not going to look too close into them, just because some of them has been, you know, a little bit dated in a sense. This one obviously not, because this one is head focused, so we're not getting that. This one is pretty much going to be the same thing as we take a look at the Penelope Backpack, and then the the torso section. So this one simply does give you that piercing, so not bad for like any hard content in a sense, or any hard content that have some pretty tough defensive line. This one's gonna be good. And this one specifically is good because this one does give you a EXQ boosting, so this one is not going to be conducive to a specific typing, or not typing but EXQ, so you can use melee shot in the same build, because this one is an EXQ boosting, so both of them is going to be able to benefit no problem. So this one is good. What about the arm? Pretty sure the arms have some pretty janky EXQ. We have a vertical beam saber or saber, what is it, spin. So I think this is one of those animation where it does like a do like a spin with your wrist, like, you know, just and then just attack. I think it's one of those, right? So it looks visually does look pretty appealing in a way. I believe it's actually dual wielding if I remember correctly. I think I don't remember the top of my head, but likewise over here, oh no, this one is definitely not it. What about back part? Okay, so your debuff EXQ time up by 22%. So in terms of debuffing an enemy, in terms of your buffs, they do get increased by 22%, like their actual like duration. So that's actually not too bad. And then you do also get a melee power boosted by 20 or 35%. So this one, yeah, in terms of standard, you never get those perfect combo where you get all, you know, all power boosting tray. Sometimes they throw in some of these over here, and then they pair it up with like a good, you know, modern part tray or anything that's power related boosting. So yeah, kind of tough to decide whether or not to get that one, honestly. And this one is outright a no. What about the Saber? Didn't take a look at this one. This one is a no as well. So yeah, in terms of victory, I don't think there's anything that's outstanding where I would say, yeah, go farm it out and alterate it. It's just not really all that good in a way. So up next, we do have the Tology Endless World version. So in the upcoming weeks, we are actually going to be getting this one as a welfare. So if you do need this one for the link attribute, so your standard or your welfare one can hit harder for getting that all power boosting by 6% when you do that link attribute. Is I mean, like, it's not a bad option in a way, but let's kind of take a look to see if there's anything that is kind of like worth mentioning here. So this one is honestly not that good. I mean, you do have that shooting power reduced with it, but if you're not building around these types of parts rate in all your other slots, yeah, this one is just kind of dead on the water. First part rate is EXQ output boost by 35%. So yeah, it's just not good, man. Like I don't know what they're doing right there. So nope, not gonna be good. What about this one? So yeah, so like I said again, in terms of standard, they like to throw in those power boosting tray, and then like the first part tray is somewhat always gonna be bad, and then there's gonna be a redemption in this one, but this one is only gonna be that arm part specifically. So yeah, it's just so limited. So I would definitely say no go on this one. It's just not good. Not good for alteration, but if you do want to get your separate part, you can definitely go for that, but just not worth the alteration. So in terms of this one, we do have a arm plus an integrated shield. So this one does give us the Doppelgun over here, or Doppelgun, and this one I'll definitely say you would have to alterate in terms of trying to get that B plus power. I'll definitely say starting out you should be looking at a D power in a way. So yeah, not gonna be that good until alteration. So let's kind of take a look at the leg and see what we have. So first portrait is done already. Secondary portrait is kind of like a redemption factor because it is a EXQ power boosting, so your melee and shot EXQ can both shine, no problem. Condition is not even that bad either, so leg part wise is kind of okay. Something just gotta be mindful is this first portrait is so bad. Like similarly to, is it this one? Yeah, this one, and then head part, right? Or no, yeah, just these two. So yeah, it's still looking really bad in a way. So this one's gonna be using, or this one is similar to, what backpack was it? Similar to the victory. It's giving, like, instead of that one it's a debuffing, this one is a buff. So if you want your, like, let's say you like whenever you buff, for example, if you want those effects to be a little bit longer for duration, these are definitely going to be very helpful. But in terms of the secondary portrait, is quite bad. Okay, so let's move on here. So last but not least, we do have the Doppelgun here, so let's kind of take a look. So yeah, no, this one is just bad. Not even gonna talk about that anymore. So alright, so let's kind of move over to the last unit here. So gonna be taking a look at the Stardust Memory, and we do need to take a look at the GPO1. So in terms of the GPO1, we do have this one as a welfare already. So this one, if you do get this one, definitely could be very beneficial to that link attribute. And honestly, in terms of this one specifically, I remember the link is a very good candidate for a reduction, like enemy reduction type build, because this one does give you that when using a defender job license, you do get an EXQ CD reduced by 20%, and you also do get an enemy EXQ reduced by 30%. So this one honestly is a very good one to be looking at. And then I think up next was actually the beam rifle. I believe it's actually somewhat good. So yeah, this one is actually quite good as well, because this one is an enemy shooting power reduced by 30%, and you also do get some power EXQ power boosting as well. So honestly, leg part and beam rifle are a very solid option if you're planning to do any of those tank build, for example. They're just way too good for their own good. So this one probably not that good, ties into only the back part, so probably not too impressive. It just all this restriction, and then just not having a good pairing. So it sucks. So head part obviously not gonna be that good because it does have a head Vulcan, so we can ignore that. This one does give you a combat hack, so it's gonna be reducing melee attack of auto enemy by 39% for 51 seconds at max. So that should be looking at 30 seconds at base EX skill level 1. So that's cool, but honestly not gonna be too helpful anyway. So back part, we do have the battle cry, and the welfare version definitely is a better version. This because that one actually just provide a proper melee power boosting, while this one just gives a melee defense up. So quite bad honestly. So last but not least, I believe we do have the shield part, and this one is a very good one in terms of actually buffing your ally, for example. In terms of me using this part, I don't have this unalterated just because in terms of the wording, it will actually be conflicted to some of the offensive up beta. So I simply have this one unalterated and just be able to take benefit of that actual shot attack up, and then in terms of my bump EXQ effects trace, they will be able to trigger as well. So this one, keep that unalterated, and then you guys should be pretty fine in terms of getting some pretty good supporting buffs. But overall, in terms of the GPO one, definitely the leg and the beam rifle. But yeah, as always, that is going to be pretty much it in terms of the number 94 Gunpla Fragments. So in terms of this iteration of it, I think it's still not going to be that good. So in terms of those 40 fragment, I'll definitely go ahead and then exchange them for some of the 4-star paid tickets fragment, and then with 10 fragments I should be able to get one ticket out of that. But with that being said, that's going to be pretty much it, and then I'll catch you guys all on the next one.